Hopefully we're live. Hey,
Hi.
how you all doing? Every time we do one of these, it feels like such a long time. But we have some more Eurovision 2023 news. But first of all, hey Jana, hey Clara, hey Stu.
Hi.
Hi, doing well.
Stu, you've had over the past couple of weeks, you've been like the most Eurovision-ified person in the whole of Eurovoxx. Because tell the viewers what you've been doing over the past week.
So we had two recent participants of Eurovision in the city. There was just last week, Maru from Portugal 2022. She did a show in Toronto. And then just 2 days ago, we had Daddy Freyer, who obviously a lot of people know and love from 2020 and 2021, put on a really, really great show. So yeah, it's been actually quite a lucky time to be a Eurovision fan in Toronto because we've had a lot of artists come. And then later this year, we're going to have the winners from this year, KALUSH Orchestra, are going to perform a pretty big show. So yeah, it's been really lucky.
Yeah, I think we all need to move to Toronto.
Yeah.
But yeah, glad you're getting to connect with the Eurovision act over there. And we have to go to the live chat just to say hello to. We've got Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Excellent. We've got Rye Bailey.
Hi, Rye.
We're going to talk about that. We've got to say hello to Aoife D. We've got Sarah O'Halloran. Hey, we've got RJ. We've got Sam Ravanbach. Hello to you. We've got Dean Tullett. We've got Joanne Johnson. Hey, Joanne. Long time no see. We've got Yusuf. We have got Joseph Richards. So, guys, we're here to talk about the announcement yesterday that we're now down to 2 cities left. So we've lost 5 cities from the bid to become the Eurovision host city for next year. I'm going to test myself now because we've now lost Leeds, we've lost Sheffield, we've lost Newcastle, Birmingham, and Manchester.
Right. Well done.
Manchester, one of the front runners as well, but we're down to the final 2. Glasgow, which I don't think is much of a surprise for anyone because it's been a front runner ever since the UK was announced as host. And also Liverpool, which is a city that I'm really happy about. So we have to say that this announcement was possibly maybe a little bit delayed because of recent events in the UK with Queen Elizabeth II passing away, but we've now down to the final 2 cities. There's more to come in this bidding round. But guys, first of all, how are you feeling about the final 2, Liverpool and Glasgow? I'm going to come to you first, Jana, because I know you know Liverpool very well.
Yeah, I'm a bit biased because I love Liverpool. It's a great city. I love the waterfront. I can see the Euro Village being there. There's so many options. I just love Liverpool, so I think it's a great choice. I'm not sure about Glasgow. I think it's also a good choice, but I can't really say anything about it because I haven't been there yet. I'm a bit sad Manchester is out because it would be so central and so easy to reach, but yeah.
The thing is, for a lot of Manchester supporters, I mean, supporters of the city, not the football clubs, Liverpool is still very accessible from Manchester. So I think a lot of people will still be travelling up for the contest. Stu, you were talking before about the video that Liverpool did.
Yeah, they did a really well-made sort of pitch video for why Eurovision should be in Liverpool. Obviously, highlighting the arts history, the vibe of the city, the kind of things that we expect from a pitch video for Eurovisions of the past. And yeah, I think they make a pretty good case for it. With Glasgow, we said earlier before we started that we haven't seen anything specifically about Glasgow making a pitch, or at least like a video pitch in the way that Liverpool did for Eurovision. But I mean, obviously Glasgow was the favorite before the other 5 cities were eliminated. So, there are clearly still a lot of people who want it to be there. Personally speaking, I've never been to either city. So to me, it doesn't really make a difference. And I think as has been mentioned before by many people, for this Eurovision in particular, where it's being held is a little bit, it's not as significant because it is, again, like a party being put on for Ukraine. But nonetheless, I think that the 2 that are still in the running are good options. And I'm really, I'd be excited to go to either or. I think if I had to give the edge to one, it would be Glasgow because it's in Scotland. I have Scottish roots and, it just seems like I would vibe with it a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't be any less happy to go to Liverpool as well.
Clara, and these are both new cities to you as well, I believe.
Yes, indeed, and I am happy to visit both because both of them have a very interesting thing. Like Liverpool for me is like the Beatles and music and musical culture. And then Glasgow has like this medieval historical vibe to it. I would be so happy to go to both of either of those cities. So I'm happy. I am surprised that Manchester was left out because that's where the BBC has the studios now, right?
Yeah, and it was probably one of the most obvious choices, and maybe that's why it has been, why it hasn't made it through to the final two. And you know, I was a big supporter of Manchester hosting the contest as well. It would have been a great host city, but there is lots of BBC in Manchester, so maybe it is nice in a way to be able to showcase another city that doesn't kind of have this. That isn't very kind of BBC centred, such as Manchester and Salford are now. Clara, when you were talking about going to Glasgow, I was just imagining you eating haggis.
I wouldn't be opposed to trying haggis.
I'm not even sure if I've had it before, or whether it's something that's been offered and I've politely declined. But yeah, that's if we go to Glasgow next year, we all have to try the haggis.
Yeah, I draw the line with insects, with fried insects. That might be the only thing I wouldn't try. But haggis, I think I'd be fine.
Yeah, fried insects not really a thing here, luckily. Yeah, but let's see what the comments, what the guys in the live chat are saying. So we've got Rye Bailey. So you're voting for Liverpool. Aoife D, you're saying you said from the beginning it should be in Scotland, so you're rooting for Glasgow. But Liverpool is a pretty cool place too. So if it does go to Glasgow, this would be the second time ever that Scotland has hosted the contest. Obviously, it's forever been absent from Northern Ireland and Wales. All of the other Eurovisions in the UK have been in England, apart from 1972. So that does make me kind of want it to go to Glasgow as well. I think based on the political issues around kind of Scotland leaving the UK as well, I think it would be good for showing some unity. And Nicola Sturgeon, who I don't know if you guys know, she's the First Minister of Scotland. So she's been very vocal about Glasgow hosting the contest. Sam Ravenbach, do you think it will be Glasgow? Also, we have to say that I think the reason that people are going for Glasgow is because of the movie.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Because it was used in, I mean, I'm sure most people in the chat know, but for anyone who doesn't know, the venue that they used, even though in the movie it was officially held in Edinburgh, I'm pretty sure. But the venue that they used was actually in Glasgow, and I think that the affinity for the movie has made people want to see that come true, especially since, like, when we think about when the movie came out and the attitudes about the UK at Eurovision, we were thinking, like, yeah, that will never happen. It'll never, ever, ever be in the UK again. But here we are. And it's because of, what's that?
Manifestation.
Exactly. Yeah,
Unintended manifestation.
Unintended manifestation, yeah.
I think it's also great, like, for the tourism, because there are many people from abroad and they could do day trips to, like, Loch Lomond or to the Highlands. So I think Scotland is...
Excuse me.
Loch Lomond is beautiful as well. Stuart's just going to let the dogs out.
Who lets the dogs out?
Yeah, but Loch Lomond is beautiful. I mean, there's so many places in Scotland that are just...
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see kind of whether the postcards are very local or whether they be kind of nationwide. I imagine if it's in Scotland, the postcards will
be more local, yeah.
Very Scottish feel, which would be nice. Who are the dogs voting for, Stu?
I'll have to ask them. I'm sure that one will take one city and the other will take the other.
Oh, damn it.
Yusuf, we've missed you, Yusuf, but you're sad that Manchester is out. But like we say, if it's Liverpool, it's not going to be too far from you. If you live in Manchester, maybe I thought you lived in London, but if you live in Manchester, it's not going to be too far. Also, Birmingham was one of the cities that people were saying had a really good shot at hosting the contest next year because they put on such a great Commonwealth Games recently. They're used to hosting those big events. But I did see on Twitter today that apparently part of the reason why Birmingham was included was because the roof wasn't quite high enough to host the contest. Did anyone see this? I don't know whether this is just someone taking the piss, but it's like 4 inches too low or something. The roof in the Birmingham.
Really?
NEC, yeah.
I mean, if you have like an aerial camera, maybe that's a concern. Like if you want to take like maybe higher angles, but that is such a specific thingy.
Yeah,
Well, I think as the show has developed more and more, they're becoming a bit more strict on the parameters for what the venue needs to accommodate. Because I keep thinking back to 2020 when it was between Rotterdam and Maastricht, and it just seemed a bit like funny because the Maastricht venue was like it was already the ceiling was too low as well, and so it seems kind of pointless as to why they would be shortlisting just those two. But I don't know. Like I think if that small difference makes for better television, then I say it's worth it.
I don't know. I agree.
yeah. Look, I hope that we see like loads of tall people now, which would be the real reason why people on stilts in the interval act.
Oh,
Maybe they're thinking that far ahead. Mark Bugord, a very valid question. You want to know if the dates of Eurovision 2023 will be in May. So no official dates have been confirmed, but I believe that Eurovision TV did say it would be in May, and I'll be surprised if it's not in May.
has there ever been a Eurovision that was not in May? Out of
Yeah.
curiosity?
In the past,
It was
yeah.
April, but it was a long time ago. So May typically is always the month of Eurovision.
And March too, I think, in like the really early days. They
Really
did it as
early
early as
one.
March, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping actually that there's someone with a lot of old Eurovision knowledge that can let us know when the last Eurovision was not to be hosted in May. Hey to Ian Williams. From a selfish point of view, you would love it to be in Liverpool as you live 2 hours from there, but Glasgow would also be a great location and the BBC is near the arena. That's another really valid point actually, because the BBC is, I think it's literally next to or over the river from the OVO Hydro.
That's right, yeah. So it would be really convenient for the production. Although I do want to make a point about this kind of like, I'm close to Liverpool, so it's easier. Like in the UK, is it really that hard to get anywhere? Like there's so many options to get from place to place. And I'm just like, we were talking before about the distance from here to Montreal and that being like a close city that's a 6-hour drive. So, I mean, is it really that big of a deal where it is for people who are already in the UK?
Yeah, because normally things are cancelled or in the UK. I can't say we have the best train system, but
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where that was going.
yeah, no. So it is pretty easy to get around. I mean, from London, where I am now, I could get up to Glasgow in I don't know how long it'd take on the train.
7-8 hours. Like,
7 hours.
to Edinburgh is like 8 hours.
Yeah, so all of these cities are easily accessible from different parts of the UK. Sometimes further up north, there's not so many direct links between certain cities, but you can always make it with changes. But yeah, lots of train strikes at the moment.
Okay.
in the UK, quite regularly. So,
But at least the infrastructure exists because it doesn't exist
Yes.
everywhere.
yeah,
Keep that in mind.
yeah, it
Hands
exists.
down.
It exists as long as it's not snowing or there's no leaves.
Yeah.
Leaves
Yeah.
on the lines.
Like traveling inside Spain is terrible. It's easier for me to travel abroad than to travel inside Spain.
Let's have a look. So yeah, Ben Enty saying Liverpool, Manchester, and Leeds are quite near each other. Yusuf, thank you. 1994 was the last contest that wasn't in May, so we're talking.
It's a long time ago, though.
What 30? Nearly was that 28
Yeah.
years?
28 years,
Yeah. We were all alive. Mostly all.
yeah.
People agreeing with you, Stu. I'm sure it is about the travel. Maybe I'm not sure. Ben Enty. So many people have been talking about the culture of Liverpool and obviously the musical history that city has. Not only the Beatles, but we've got artists like Lulu, who was a Eurovision, who won Eurovision in 1969. Sonia, if any of you
Sonia,
was Sonia. Who came second for the UK in 1993 in Mill Street. I'm trying to think of other famous Liverpudlian artists. Brian Ferry.
From Eurovision? No.
No. I'm sure there's many more, but such a rich musical culture in Liverpool. So for me, that would be a really nice link to Eurovision this year. Also saying it has links to Ukraine, so it makes sense for Liverpool. Sarah Halloran, you want Liverpool as well. Vincent F, I think you're talking about Birmingham. The stage has to fit a kinetic sun. Maybe we're going to get a kinetic sun that works. So maybe that's what they're planning for. Yoddy Toddy, you're saying Glasgow hosted the Commonwealth Games in 2014? Yes, they did actually. And there's been good recent rapport between Scotland and I'm assuming that says Ukraine. We have to shout out to Ellen Hanwright as well.
Hi.
5 in the morning in Australia. Hello to you. You're hoping for Glasgow because you have a friend who lives there with free accommodation for you. How many rooms do they have? Because I'm already reading about all these Airbnbs and hotels being sold out. So if he or she has got a couple of extra rooms, then we would be more than welcome to take them. But thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's really early. Why are you up this early, Ellen Hanwright?
Or why haven't you gone to bed yet?
Yeah. Why have you been partying on a Wednesday evening?
Yeah, and while we're talking about you in Australia, Ellen, I have to say, really sad to hear about the OGAE contest due to be hosted in Australia as well, being cancelled this year. It is sad news, but obviously there's reasons behind it, and I really hope that you guys will get the opportunity to host it again next year if you want to, because I know a lot of work has already, a huge amount of work has already gone into that. So there's lots of
I think they're invited to host again next year. I think that's already confirmed. So yeah, that's a good thing.
Oh, they confirmed it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's have a look. Twonk, actually, you're making a really good point here because the postcards might have a Ukrainian theme rather than a British one, actually. I mean, we have no idea yet, guys, on what those Ukrainian elements in the show are going to be. Have you got any kind of hopes or wishes for how they represent Ukraine in the show next year?
Culture, a lot of folklore, a lot of Ukrainian dances, Ukrainian traditions. I would love to hear the Ukrainian language, for example.
I would say probably the most important thing is that there is somebody who is Ukrainian on the team that helps choose these things, because I think that not having that is the right way to get it wrong. And I mean, you know, I would expect that a country like the UK would have lots of people, like lots of creatives who would be able to help make those calls, especially because, you know, what is going on right now is still really delicate and things should be handled in a way that is tasteful. So yeah, I think that would be the most important thing, the most important element in order to have Ukraine represented in the best possible way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would love to have a Ukrainian host and a British host. Yeah. So we'll have like a mixture. That would be perfect.
Yeah, and actually, there are already odds on who will host Eurovision next year, and Timur, I think, is one of the front runners who hosted in 2017.
He would be good. Yeah.
Yes.
He was hot.
Priorities.
But you know what? I also think we will get a message, a pre-recorded message from the President Zelensky, most likely.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we will. I'm pretty sure that will happen.
Because he's been like doing this sort of pre-recorded messages in all of the events and galas, international events. And galas.
We could have Jamala performing.
Oh yes. Ruslana, wild dances.
Oh my God, yes.
Go away.
Go away.
And KALUSH, of course.
Of course, KALUSH, yes.
As well, yeah. Still hoping for that kind of performance with KALUSH and Sam Ryder on that stage next year. I think that would be amazing because his career is doing really well. But yeah, definitely want Ukrainian hosts. I have a feeling the UK are going to do this in the right way, and I don't think they would not involve UAPBC in kind of all the details around this contest. So I'm pretty sure they're going to pull it off in a sensitive, a tactful, and a celebratory way as well, because it's about feeling sorry for Ukraine. It's about celebrating Ukraine and showing what an amazing country it is. So I don't think we're necessarily going to get loads of kind of reminders of the war, etc. I think it will be, and I hope it will be, a celebration of Ukraine as a country. Well, so I'm really excited to see how they do it. I'm just having a look in the comments, and we had someone from Skopje, and I've lost your comment. I'm sorry, but hello, whoever it was in Skopje in North Macedonia. It's Vladimir. Hey, Vladimir.
Hi.
How are you doing? Good to see you again. Mr. System, you're saying hold Eurovision in Norwich.
In Andy's house.
Yeah, well, that is a city that Clara has been to. And so now I'm going to put her on the spot and get to say nice things about it.
Yeah, Norwich is really beautiful, especially because Andy's from there. His whole beautiful family is from there. He has a beautiful house there that I've been to. There's a very cool pub that he took me, and then there's a prison that is now turned into like a restaurant.
Yeah, we went there. I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, we went there. So yeah.
So
It's close to the sea, so yeah.
Say again?
It's close to the sea, so that's really nice too.
And it's close to the sea, yeah. And beautiful cats as well. You forgot, Clara.
Oh yeah, sorry, beautiful cats.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no venue in Norwich to host an event the size of Eurovision.
What? Your mom's house is not big enough?
No. Laurie Francis, you're saying ideas for Ukraine hosts stump you. Well, there is a number that are already being kind of touted, including ones that have previously presented Eurovision in 2017 in Kyiv. It might be nice to see someone different, though, as well, rather than to get someone back. I mean, talking about UK hosts, I know this is going to be a bit more difficult for you guys because you may not necessarily know all the presenting talent that we have over here. Graham Norton supposedly, and of course he is the favourite to host, but he supposedly said that he would rather commentate on the event next year rather than host it.
Sounds less stressful though.
Yeah, I would be happy with that choice though, because for me it's obvious and it's a bit lazy getting him to host it. For me, it would be nice to get some new talent or fresher talent. I'm always going to say AJ Adudu. I know people have said Alison Hammond as well, who would literally just make everyone howl with laughter because she probably breaks stuff while she's on stage and there'd be lots of accidents. And if you haven't watched her interviews, watch her interview. She does the best interviews with like Hollywood celebs ever. You must watch her interview with Richard Gere and who was the other person in that interview? Richard Gere, and the name escapes me. But you must watch her. HC, let's talk. I'm quite happy to talk about Norwich now. There is a puppet theatre and a mustard shop in Norwich. Yes.
Harry, that's Harry. That's our Harry.
Caroline, yeah, you're saying Graham Norton said he wants to still do the commentary.
Yeah.
So maybe I've got that wrong then. Maybe he would be happy to host, but he still wants to commentate. But I don't think you can do that now, really. Terry Wogan did it in 1998. But I don't think you can really do it with how Eurovision is now. You have all the breaks. You know, there's too much going on.
Yeah, hosting is a different responsibility than it was before because, like, my partner and I have been watching some of the Eurovisions in the past lately, and especially in the 90s, like, you normally made an appearance at the start of the show, maybe in between some of the songs, but that was, like, only existent in some shows. For the most part, it was the beginning, after all the songs have been performed, and then for the voting, and then obviously to introduce the interval acts, but it was, much smaller. And I don't think that it's something that couldn't be done nowadays, but I think that the ultimate priority is that a lot of people in the UK watch Eurovision because of Graham Norton's commentary. Like they want to feel validated for kind of crapping on the entries. They want to have that sassy friend who craps on the entries. So I think that keeping that is going to be very important. And obviously he still wants to do the commentary. So yeah, it would be interesting if he was incorporated into the show in some way. And they could do a Terry Wogan-like arrangement, but it wouldn't mean that he would be, leaving midway to do something in the green room, right? Like his main priority would be commentating in the booth.
Well, I'll tell you what's not been done before is a presenter commentating at the same time on stage.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think how would that logistically work.
He's just be there with his iPhone, watching the show on his screen and commentating as well as hosting.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Oh, and this hot presenter, look at him. He's wearing exactly the same thing as me.
Emma Willis and Dermot O'Leary, you've been hearing their names a bit now. I'm not sure if Emma Willis has really done a lot for the BBC, although I might be wrong. And Dermot O'Leary, I know, is associated with ITV. But both would make great presenters, I agree. There you go, Yana, a little one for you. Ben Enti saying there's a Ukraine news report that's very famous. I can't remember her name. See if you can find out who it is and let us know. Yoddy Toddy, you're saying get Philomena.
She's a character from the Wipe series. You know, like Charlie Brooker does his like yearly. Well, he used to do the yearly review. Now he does Black Mirror. But yeah, she's had her own like little spin-off thing. She is the funniest. I can't remember the name of the actual because that's not her name. But the name of the actual comedian, yeah, she's hilarious. She should be like the Linda Woodruff, where she's like, "What is Eurovision?" and just does these random interviews, talking to experts like super duper Eurovision fans, and kind of roasting them a little bit.
Yeah, I hope there's. I mean, there is always an element of piss taking out of the show when it comes to hosting.
Yeah.
But because the UK has been so famous for that for so many decades now, I'm kind of hoping that they either don't do it at all, or if they do, it's very, very limited, because I worry that they would go too far and it would just look like, typical UK ripping the piss out of Eurovision. I'm sure they won't. I'm sure it's going to be very tactfully done. But it's interesting to see what type of humour we get from British presenters and British organisation.
Well, I think that if they look at what the Swedes did in 2016, because there was definite poking fun in both 2016 and 2020. Sorry, not 2020, 2013. But obviously 2016 is the one that people remember most. Look, there is a way to do it tastefully, and I think that I would welcome it being done in a small way. But yeah, definitely it's a balancing act. You don't want to lean too heavily on that because it might not be well received in the rest of Europe, much like some commentators like Graham Norton, because there are a lot of people, even people who have worked on Eurovision, who are not a fan of that kind of the need to be apathetic and to criticize entries regardless, So I think there is definitely a tasteful way to do it, and I would hope that they would kind of dip their toes in it, but not lean too heavily into, we need to make fun of this too.
Joanne Johnson, actually. So you hope President Zelensky's wife will come to Eurovision like she came to Queen Elizabeth's funeral. So that's Elena, I think.
Elena Zelenska.
Zelenska. That would be a really nice touch, actually, if she's able to come and represent.
She was in New York with Tina Karol, I think, this week.
Yeah, and there are also some Ukrainian junior Eurovision performers that are currently living in the UK as well. I know Alexander from, what year was he from now?
2019?
I think it's 2020.
20. Yeah, 2020, something like that.
So he's currently living in London. I think Tina Karol was here in London a few days ago, maybe. So yeah, that would be a really nice touch. I can see people saying Anton Deck with Ulrika Johnson, who of course hosted in 1998. She's been very much out of the limelight though for many years. And Anton Deck, again, associated with ITV, so I'm not sure if that would work. Laurie Francis saying Graham definitely deserves an ask. Would be great with Rylan giving commentary. That'd be interesting, actually.
I would love to see Rylan in the green room. I can see that.
I'm sure he will be involved somehow.
Yeah.
Stuart Ainsworth, you're saying Davina McCall as well as Dermot O'Leary. I mean, she's a TV host that I've grown up with. She would be fantastic. Let's have a look. Caroline saying he was, I think, Rylan saying he may pop down there, wave and go back. Are we talking about Rylan there or Dermot O'Leary? Although probably the best suggestion that I've seen tonight.
Yes.
And thank you.
Write it down.
Thank you for the support, Mark. Thank you.
Well,
we'd probably be too drunk by that point to
That would
actually.
be funny though.
at the
Or
very
too
least,
caffeinated.
at the very least, we could say that you two have chemistry, right? And that's one of the things that tends to be missing from hosts that we've seen in the past. And
Oh
like,
yes.
especially like this year, the hosting was not great. Sadly, they had great talent, but it just seemed
Yeah, I
like they had
agree.
not been rehearsing very well. So, I mean, while you guys are probably not top choice, I would say that at least you would have that as a leg up.
Yeah, I'm thinking about when it was hosted in Riga and Marianne and the guy from Brainstorm had to pretend they had chemistry. What a chaos.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Arthur Bean, I really hope that you're taking. If you're not taking the piss, I'm really sorry, but I don't ever want to see Amanda Holden associated with Eurovision ever again. I don't know if you guys remember her. She gave our votes in 2020,
One, right?
2021.
Yeah. That was not. I can't remember what she said, but it just seemed really ignorant. So yeah, pass. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely pass. I did see Stuart Ainsworth, Mons Zelmerlöw would be good as well. And he did host the UK selection really well. He's a lot of fun. And I think anyone could have great chemistry with Mons.
I just don't want to see him everywhere. Like he appears every single year. It's a bit too much now. So I want to see someone new. Maybe Tina Carroll. I would love that.
Caroline, you're saying you think it has to be a friend to Eurovision like AJ, Adudu, or Mel, or even Lorraine Kelly. Wow. I appreciate that some of these names. I don't know if you guys have heard of. I'm sure you probably wouldn't have heard of them.
I actually know all of
great
those.
If it's in Glasgow, because obviously she's a Scot as well. Yeah. And Rye Bailey won't be Holly and Phil after skipping the queue.
I know that. That's the only thing I know.
But yeah, guys, if I have to go round to you now and say pick a host city out of Glasgow and Liverpool, Clara.
Glasgow, because it was like the first city that sparked rumors. Like actually instantly.
Yeah. Stu.
Glasgow. Scottish. Glasgow.
This is going to be a bit boring because I think I know what Jana's going to choose.
I want Liverpool, but I think it's going to be Glasgow.
Oh, okay. My Scottish and Glaswegian family are going to disown me, but at the moment, I would love to see it in Liverpool. I'm quite excited about Eurovision in Liverpool. I think that would be a great choice, and I'd love to see how the kind of historical musical culture of Liverpool is married up to the craziness of Eurovision. So yeah, but Glasgow would be fantastic as well. I was rooting for Glasgow all along until we got to the final two. Now I'm thinking Liverpool. I'm just seeing quickly, Ben Enti, you're saying the news reporter Marichka Padalko has been on TV around the world, so another possible host. Ian Williams, Clara Amfo from Radio 1 would be great.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Dean Tullock, you're going for Glasgow. Ben Enti, Liverpool. ESE Manga, you're going for Glasgow as well. Rye Bailey, we haven't talked about the weather, but it is colder in Scotland, so you're going for Liverpool. And Lee Saunderson, you're saying that Albert Dock setting would be fantastic for external shots, drone fly rounds, etc. And Ben Enti, you're saying that Liverpool always feel left out. Caroline, you're saying it's Glasgow. We have no bloody idea, really, but I think we can all agree that we would be happy for whichever city it is out of the two. I think it's two fantastic choices and could both put on both great environments for a Eurovision. So we look forward to finding out soon, hopefully, because we want to start making plans, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's be real. Who was it that made the point? Oh, Rye Bailey said that Scotland is freezing cold. We're not going to the UK for the weather, regardless of where we're going. So,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I was
I'll wear my
thinking,
bathing
like-
suit just in case, but my optimism's pretty low.
I was thinking about Rotterdam was freezing cold, and we had to wear like our coats all the time. And then we went to Milano, and it was Torino, and it was just so beautiful and sunny and eating ice cream. But yeah, it's not going to be that kind of Eurovision. It's fine.
Turin was amazing. It's just it made me thought the one thing that I was meant to do in Torino and I didn't do was eat ice cream. I didn't have any.
I had
Oh, you
one
didn't?
with my sister.
I had no ice cream. Can you
But we
believe
had a lot of cannoli.
Oh yeah, the cannoli. I mean, we had a lot of everything there.
We had, yeah.
Oh, Stu, that cannoli though.
It was really great, and I was glad that there were leftovers because Jess didn't want some.
Oh, Stuart, will you be coming to the UK?
Let's see.
Nice.
Obviously, the plan is to come, but we'll see.
We were talking about how cheap it's going to be for anyone not in the UK at the moment. The way the kind of economy is here, anyone visiting the UK, you're going to be getting a lot more. I was going to say bang out of your buck, really. So, Stuart, if that's not an excuse for you to come, I don't know what is.
But with a transatlantic flight, it's always going to be more expensive than for the average person. Although I'm sure that people from Australia, it's even worse. What's that?
Just start eating potatoes. Just eat potatoes.
Just potatoes.
Till Eurovision season. That will save a lot of money.
Got it. Okay.
And maybe
I'll
we'll
look
start,
like a potato by the end of it too.
Yeah. We'll start a GoFundMe for you. There you go.
Aww.
Guys, if you want to see Stuart at Eurovision, donate. There you go. Anyway, guys, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much. Can't wait to find out which the host city is. If you're not watching us live, drop a comment down below. Let us know whether you're voting for Liverpool or whether you're team Glasgow. Also, subscribe to our socials on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow us, like us on Facebook, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Where have you been all this time? We can't wait to bring you lots more news about Eurovision 2023 and also Junior Eurovision 2022, because that's coming up in a couple of months as well in our media. So, Clara, Stu, Jana, thank you so much, guys, and have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.